It's been a long time since we did a video in this series, but I thought now would be a perfect time to bring it back. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 running back recruits from the 2013 class, and how their careers shaped out. Before we get to today's video, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are that you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel. So make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. I'm posting college football videos all off season, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. Is there a recruiting class you'd like to see a video of? Drop a comment down below and it could be my next video. We're going to be using the 24/7 composite rankings for today's top 10. We'll start today's list at number 10 with Ryan Green, who committed to Florida State. He attended St. Petersburg Catholic in Florida, where he played a variety of positions, but primarily running back. He participated in the 2013 Under Armour All-American game, even though he missed most of his senior season with a shoulder injury. During his junior campaign, Green rushed for over 1,000 yards with 14 touchdowns. He also recorded 57 tackles and a pair of interceptions on defense. Many people considered him to be the fastest running back recruit in the entire country. As a true freshman, he had 33 carries for 160 yards and 1 touchdown. Green battled injuries in 2014 and didn't see much work. He finished the 2014 season with only 6 carries. In the spring of 2015, Green decided to switch to cornerback. However, he suffered a shoulder injury in the preseason and missed the entire 2015 season. In 2016, he decided to switch back to running back. Green played in 11 games, finishing with only 75 rushing yards on 11 carries. As a redshirt senior, he appeared in 5 games, rushing for 120 yards with 3 touchdowns on only 13 carries. He went undrafted and, from what I could find, was a part of a few practice squads, but nothing ever progressed from there. That was the last information I was able to find on him. I couldn't even find any social media pages or anything on what he's up to via Google. Number 9 on the list is Alti Tenpenny, who committed to Alabama. He attended North Little Rock High School in Arkansas. During his senior season, he rushed for over 1,000 yards while averaging 11 yards a carry with 16 touchdowns. He committed to Alabama, but barely saw the field due to a pretty loaded running back room. He sat behind names like Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Kenyon Drake, and TJ Yeldon. While with Alabama, he appeared in 10 total games, rushing for over 200 yards with a touchdown. After 2 seasons, he opted to transfer to UNLV. However, he was dismissed from the Rebels program before the season began for breaking team rules. He then joined Nicholls State during preseason practice. This, though, is when things turned tragic for Tenpenny. Shortly after joining Nicholls State, he was arrested. According to reports, he walked into oncoming traffic with a loaded handgun right outside of a police administration building. He told police he walked in the middle of the road to find an officer. He claimed he took the gun from one of his teammates. Although he told police he didn't know how to shoot a gun, he later stated that he fired the weapon to see if it had 1 shot in the head. He was arrested for illegal carrying of weapons. He got released the next day, but a day after he got released, he died in a car accident in Mississippi. He got transported to the hospital after he was thrown from his vehicle, but he died shortly after. Up next at number 8 is Ty Isaac, who committed to USC. He attended Joliet Catholic Academy in Illinois. During his junior season, he rushed for 2,600 yards with 51 rushing touchdowns. In his team's 5A championship game, he rushed for over 500 yards with 6 rushing touchdowns. He was named the 2011 Chicago Sun-Times Football Player of the Year. He missed a large portion of his senior season with injuries, but still finished with 1,500 yards and 20 touchdowns. As a true freshman, Isaac rushed for 230 yards while averaging 6 yards a carry with 2 rushing scores. After 1 season with USC, he transferred to Michigan to be closer to his mother. He sat out the 2014 season and debuted in 2015. He'd spent the next 3 seasons with Michigan, but never lived up to the expectations surrounding him coming out of high school. During his Michigan tenure, Isaac rushed for 1,200 yards with 8 rushing touchdowns. His 550 rushing yards during his senior season ended up being a career high. In 2018, Isaac signed with the Birmingham Iron of the Alliance of American Football League for the 2019 season, but as many of you know, that league didn't last all that long. Based on what his Instagram page looks like now, it looks like he's into building and riding motorcycles. Up next at number 7 is Greg Bryant, who committed to Notre Dame. He attended American Heritage High School in Florida. Over his final 2 seasons in high school, he rushed for over 3,500 yards with 42 rushing touchdowns. He had offers from Oklahoma, Auburn, South Carolina, and Georgia, but chose Notre Dame. During his freshman season, he recorded only 3 carries. Then, in 2014, he rushed for 300 yards with 3 rushing touchdowns. In 2015, Bryant was ruled academically ineligible shortly before the season began. Instead of waiting, he left Notre Dame and returned home, enrolling at ASA College in Miami. An issue with his paperwork at his former stop, however, essentially forced Bryant to sit out the entire year. He ended up back at the FBS level as he committed to UAB. However, he sadly never got a chance to suit up for them. In 2016, Bryant was shot and killed while driving with his friend. Bryant was taken to the hospital in critical condition after sustaining multiple gunshot wounds, including at least 1 to the head. Sadly, he was brain dead within 24 hours of the shooting and passed away. Number 6 on this list is Alvin Kamara, who committed to Alabama. He attended Norcross High School in Georgia. As a senior, he rushed for 2,300 yards with 26 rushing touchdowns. Kamara was named Georgia's Mr. Football by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, selected as the Class 6A Player of the Year, and earned first-team All-State honors from the Georgia Sports Writers Association. Kamara committed to Alabama, where he entered with a pretty crowded running back room that featured NFL running backs Derrick Henry, Kenyon Drake, and TJ Yeldon. In addition to being behind all those running backs, he had knee surgery during the preseason and had to redshirt his first year. Due to behavioral issues, Saban banned Kamara from practicing with the team and suspended him from their bowl game. In 2014, Kamara transferred from Alabama to Hutchinson Community College in Kansas. In 9 games, Kamara ran for over 1,200 yards with 18 touchdowns. Following that season, Kamara was viewed as the top JUCO recruit in the entire country and ended up committing to Tennessee. He went on to have a pretty successful career at Tennessee and was one of the top running backs in the entire conference. In his 2 seasons there, he rushed for 1,300 yards with 16 rushing touchdowns, while also adding 74 receptions for 700 yards and 7 touchdowns in the receiving game. Kamara was drafted by the Saints in the 3rd round of the 2017 NFL Draft. Since then, he's been one of the best running backs in the entire NFL. Up next at number 5 is Alex Collins, who committed to Arkansas. Collins attended South Plantation High School in Fort Lauderdale. He was named the Broward County Player of the Year as a junior after he rushed for 1,800 yards with 28 touchdowns. As a senior, he added 1,400 yards on the ground with 14 scores. Collins played for Arkansas from 2013 through 2015. He started his career as the first true freshman in SEC history to rush for 300 yards in his first 3 games. He finished the year with over 1,000 rushing yards and 4 scores. Collins was named the SEC Freshman of the Year. The following season, he rushed for 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns. Collins then finished his junior campaign with a career-high 1,600 yards and a school record 20 rushing touchdowns. He became only the 3rd player in SEC history to rush for 1,000+ yards in 3 seasons. Collins declared for the 2016 NFL Draft after his junior season. He was selected by the Seahawks in the 5th round. After just 1 season in Seattle, he was cut. He was picked up by the Ravens, where he had the best season of his NFL career. He rushed for just under 1,000 yards with 6 rushing touchdowns while adding 23 receptions. Collins returned to Seattle in 2020, spending the next couple of seasons there. Number 4 on the list is Derrick Green, who committed to Michigan. He attended Hermitage High School in Virginia. As a senior, he rushed for 1,500 yards with 21 rushing touchdowns. Rivals.com actually had Green listed as the best running back in the nation and the number 8 overall player in the country. During his freshman season, Green had 83 carries, but only turned it into 270 yards and 1 touchdown. The following season, Green rushed for nearly 500 yards with 3 touchdowns in only 6 games, but a broken clavicle cost him half of his season. Green then appeared in only 7 games during his junior season. He finished the year with 150 yards and only 2 touchdowns. After 3 seasons with Michigan, Green decided to enter the transfer portal, ending up at TCU. He wasn't able to earn the full-time starter gig as he finished the season with only 38 carries, the least of any season in his career. And that was the last information I was able to find on Derrick Green. I assume he did make an attempt at the NFL, as there's nothing on him following his last season with TCU. Number 3 is Keith Ford, who committed to Oklahoma. He attended Cypress Ranch High School in Texas. As a senior, he rushed for nearly 2,000 yards with 24 rushing touchdowns. Ford ended up committing to Oklahoma, where he saw only 23 carries as a true freshman. He rushed for 130 yards with a rushing touchdown. As a sophomore, he rushed for nearly 400 yards with 6 total touchdowns, but an injury cost him about a third of his season. Following the year, Ford was suspended indefinitely from the football team due to academic and team rule violations. 9 days later, he announced he'd be transferring to Texas A&M. After sitting out one season due to the NCAA transfer rules, he was the Aggies' second leading rusher with nearly 700 yards as a redshirt junior. As a senior, he rushed for 500 yards and led the team with 12 rushing touchdowns. Over the course of his collegiate career, Ford rushed for just under 2,000 yards with 24 touchdowns. Ford signed with the Buffalo Bills as an undrafted free agent following the 2018 NFL Draft. He made his NFL debut rushing for 50 yards, but he was waived the following season. He spent time with the Colts and Packers, but was never able to crack a roster. In 2020, he signed with the St. Louis Battlehawks of the XFL, but as you all know, their season was cancelled due to COVID. Based on his latest Instagram photos, it looks like he's now gotten into UCF boxing of some sorts. Up next at number 2 is Kelvin Taylor, who committed to Florida. He attended Glades High School in Florida. As a junior, he broke Emmitt Smith's Florida career rushing record. For his career, he racked up over 12,000 yards and 191 touchdowns. ESPN had him rated as the #1 running back of his class. After becoming a Florida high school legend, Taylor decided to stay home and commit to Florida. He actually went on to have a pretty solid career for the Gators. As a true freshman, he rushed for over 500 yards with 4 rushing touchdowns in 9 games. The following season, he rushed for nearly 600 yards with 6 rushing scores. His junior season was when he finally broke out, as he was one of the best running backs in the SEC. Taylor rushed for over 1,000 yards and had 13 rushing touchdowns. He also added 17 receptions for 150 yards. Instead of returning for his senior season, Taylor declared for the NFL Draft. He was selected in the 6th round by the 49ers. But in September, he was released as part of the final roster cuts and was signed to the practice squad. Overall, during the next couple years, he would sign with the Seahawks, Chiefs, Falcons, and Browns, but was never able to get higher than the practice squad. In 2018, Taylor signed with the Orlando Apollos of the Alliance of American Football League. During the season, he never touched the ball. He most recently played in the Spring League, which was ironically held in the fall of 2020. So, the #1 running back on our list goes to Thomas Tyner, who committed to Oregon. He attended Aloha High School in Aloha, Oregon. He was the #1 high school player in the state of Oregon. During his senior season, he rushed for a single-season state record of 3,400 yards. In just one game, he rushed for 640 yards and had 10 rushing touchdowns while catching 6 passes for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was the #1 running back recruit in the country and opted to stay close to home and commit to Oregon. He actually had a really good freshman season as he rushed for over 700 yards with 9 rushing touchdowns. He finished the year with just under 900 total purpose yards while averaging about 8 yards a play. His numbers took a hit the following year though, as he rushed for only 600 yards with 5 rushing touchdowns. However, he showed up for Oregon's 2 biggest games of the season. He rushed for a season-high 125 yards with 2 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl over Florida State. Then in the national title game against Ohio State, he rushed for a team-high 60 yards. In August of 2015, it was announced that Tyner would not play during the 2015 season following shoulder surgery. In February of 2016, Oregon announced that Tyner had decided to medically retire from football. His father John revealed that the left shoulder injury he suffered in 2014 was healed, but his other shoulder still had a torn labrum. He didn't play in 2015 and 2016, but in May of 2017, he announced he'd be returning to college football. As if that wasn't a big enough surprise, he said he'd be transferring to Oregon State. He only saw 64 carries with the Beavers, which he turned into 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Following that season, Tyner hung up the cleats and never played football again. So, there you have it. Those were the top 10 running back recruits from the 2013 class. Which name was the biggest surprise on this list? Was there a recruit you were shocked didn't pan out? Let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you love college football, this is definitely the place for you. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm posting college football videos all off season, so make sure to subscribe if you call yourself a college football fan. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. Also, is there a recruiting class you'd like to see in my next video? Drop a comment down below, and that could be my next video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.